أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعه وولاه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. أما بعد, all praises due to Allah. May Allah's peace and blessings be upon His Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. To proceed, we continue with the etiquettes of seeking knowledge for Sheikh Bakr Abu Zayd rahimahullah, with the explanation of Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen, and we're doing the reflection and commentary and explanation as well of that. We are with the chapter 3, finishing chapter 3 now, and we are with number 20. Chapter 3 is the etiquettes of the seeker of knowledge with his or her sheikh. The etiquettes of the seeker of knowledge with his or her sheikh. We talked about considering the sheikh's status, like you have your father or someone elder. This is the social or the blood relationship, blood or social relationship. This is a ilm relationship. The scholars always talk to each other and say, al-ilmu rahimun bayna ahlihi. Al-ilmu rahimun bayna ahlihi. There is rahim. Arham means like your relatives. This is your blood relationship. So also there is a relationship between the ahl of knowledge, like your own ahl, your blood relationship. This is your ahl. Also all the seekers of knowledge, your ahl as well. All the seekers of knowledge, your ahl as well. And the relationship of kin with the blood relationship, this is the relationship of ilm in the knowledge relationship. Understand that comparison here? So we are here in this class, relatives, and the relationship or the ground is ilm. Like I have my own family, I have my father and mother and sibling and brother and sister and daughter and niece and nephew and grandfather and grandmother. This is the blood relationship. And here the ground of it is blood, or this is kin, family relation. You have social relationship. You have your neighbor and your boss, your employer, your employee, these different things. So in ilm is the same structure, knowledge. You have someone senior to you, someone younger. You are like siblings in ilm, in the class, brothers and sisters. And your sheikh is like your father in knowledge. In the blood relationship, age makes a difference. But in the ilm, age does not make a difference. So this is always, you keep that in your head. So sometimes the student is like the age of the grandfather of the sheikh, but it's like his father in knowledge. Okay, that's why they say this person is like the grandfather of that person in knowledge, because he's the sheikh of his sheikh. All right, and so on. So you have to know the sheikh's status. Once you know that, the respect will come natural. There are certain things you cannot do in front of your parents. There are certain things you cannot do in front of your siblings. There are certain things you cannot do in front of your children, right? The same thing in knowledge. You have to understand the status of everyone around you. Once you get that, then you behave as a seeker of knowledge. We also talked about from an investment point of view. When you invest, you have a capital. You have $100, and this $100 you buy things and you sell it, and you make 5% or 10% or whatever. But you make sure that this $100 are there. They are there because this is your capital. If you lose the capital, then the profit will be lost, then everything is lost. So your capital is your sheikh. And the profit is everything that you're learning today and yesterday and the previous class and the years to come. So if your capital is there, if your sheikh is there, you're respecting your sheikh, you're honoring your sheikh, making sure your sheikh has what he or she needs, so they can teach you that profit, that you're profiting. So make sure the capital is there. That's why all the enemies of Islam or the enemies of the practicing religion, what they do, they want to destroy the capital. شفتوا? They want to destroy the capital. They want to make you as a consumer or as a student lose faith in your leaders. right? Lose faith in the leaders, in the integrity of the Shuyukh. Well, this book here is telling us that the Sheikh is a human being too. He makes mistakes, has faults too. So you have to focus. The Sheikh is not a god, he's not a prophet. Yes, there are many things expected, but what are you focusing on is to take the knowledge. Okay, that's why there are things that you have to overlook, but there are things you cannot compromise, as we will see in the next one. So the Sheikh's enthusiasm in the lesson, نشاط النشاط نشاط الشيخ في درسه نشاط الشيخ في درسه يعني the enthusiasm or the activity or the level of energy of the Sheikh in the class is based on what? Is based on how much you can get. Right? So a smart Sheikh or a smart teacher, he looks at his students, and see how much can they take. How much they can take. And give them based on that. It's like you go to the gym and you have a personal trainer. First day is not going to give you like advanced things. Otherwise, even if you survive, you're going to stay sore and you are tired for like a month. So what is the point? And then you might not go back to that gym again. Okay? And sometimes in a session will take you higher. Sometimes in a session take you lower, right? Because they understand exactly what you need. So never ever judge and say, oh, the Sheikh did not give us much today. Or the Sheikh gave us too much today. As a student, you have to understand that the level of activity of the Sheikh is based on how much you know. And that's why he's a Sheikh, to know exactly what you need. To know what you need. يكون على قدر مدارك الطالب في استماعه وجمع نفسه وتفاعل أحاسيسه مع شيخه في درسه ولهذا فاحذر أن تكون وسيلة قطع لعلمه بالكسل والفتور والاتكاء وانصراف الذهن وفتوره. So it's saying that the level of activity or energy of the Sheikh or how much the Sheikh gives is based on how attentive is the student. How attentive is the student. And this is an issue that you as a teacher would notice. If let's say you prepare the lesson and you come into the class, but then the students start talking to each other, or they ask you a question and then they look somewhere else, or they are distracted by something, you lose it, right? As a teacher, kind of like, and sometimes it takes 1 second, 1 second only, and the person is turned off in front of you. So make sure whenever you are listening in a class, you're fully attentive. That's why in khutbah al-Jum'ah, when the khatib is there, the khatib is not the sunnah, for the khatib to look at everybody. But it is the sunnah for everybody to look at the khatib. It makes sense now? You see the deen comes together now, right? When you're learning these etiquettes, you kind of know why things are happening. And that's one of the things. When you seek knowledge and you learn the etiquettes of seeking knowledge, you will understand why this thing is happening. Yani Islam or the Sunnah tells us the khatib looks forward in the front, to the people here. But it tells everybody that to look at the khatib. Yani if you are listening there, they should not be looking at the wall in front of them. They should actually tilt their body a little bit so it's like a circle looking at the Sheikh or the Khatib giving the khutbah. Attentiveness. And when the Khatib looks that, so it's saving the Khatib from looking right, looking left. And then somebody said, oh, the Sheikh is looking to the right, more to the left. Or these people, they are Arab sitting and these people are like non-Arab sitting and he's looking to the, it will create bigger issues. So just front. And then everybody looks at. So as I always say, the khatib is the center of attention. The khatib is the center of attention. But his attention is the center. So his attention is the center. So center is his point of attention, but he is the center of attention. Make sense? So the khatib is the center of attention of everybody, but his center of attention is the center in the front. Yeah. So is it as much attentive as you are, as much energetic and enthusiastic and giving the Sheikh will be. Now you know the key. Now you know the key as a student in the class, so keep that in your head whenever. Right? Whenever you are studying, you have to know that the key for the Sheikh to be giving is how much you are interacting, is how much you are looking, is how much you are interested. So it's like a well. You know, you have to put the bucket down and bring the water up, and bucket down and the water up, then the water will keep coming. Okay? But if you're standing there waiting for somebody to bring you water, maybe there is somebody, maybe not. Okay? Yani, so this is one. وَجَمْعِ نَفْسِهِ, the focus of the student as well. So sometimes the students are looking, but they're not focused. So you have to also جمع النفس, يعني focus. You leave all the distractions away. Now you are in a halqa of ilm. حلقة العلم. The angels are surrounding you. Allah is looking at you. There is a barakah of knowledge. This is what Rasulullah did with the Sahaba. This is the knowledge passing down to you. So appreciate that. So جمع النفس. وتفاعل أحاسيسه وتفاعل أحاسيسه مع شيخه في درسه. Even your feelings, your emotions, there is kind of like an interaction with that. That's why, subhanallah, the Sahaba of Rasulullah used to say that each and every one of them thinks that Rasulullah is giving him or her the attention when they're sitting in the halqa. But he was not. But they feel like that because they were so much connected to him sallallahu alaihi wasallam that they see and get emotionally what he says. Then he says, for all that, attentiveness, focusing, and emotionally interactive with the Sheikh, so those three, he said, so be careful not to be the tool that cuts his knowledge or interrupts or deters his knowledge with laziness. With laziness. So as your enthusiasm key for the Sheikh's giving, your laziness or lethargy will be the key to lock it. Right? So قطع العلم. You know, ilm is flowing. You know, one of the things that will deter or stop that flowing is kasal, laziness. So when a student is lazy, you know, like I'm energetic, I'm giving someone a class, and then someone said, you know what, Sheikh, I'm not coming today. I skipped the class today. I have this and I have that. Well, I can have many things too, right? But this kind of like disappoints the person. Forget about paying or not paying, or forget about all of these things. The thing here is the dedication. And ilm is not like anything else. You go to the doctor, if you miss, they will still charge you something. All right? Why? Because this is somebody's time. Now it is not somebody's time, it is somebody's soul. He's trying to give you some guidance. And then kasal, you know, one time, two times, we all have emergencies and stuff. But if it becomes like a habit, it locks that flowing of the knowledge. So your focus and your attentiveness and your love, your emotional interaction and connection with the Sheikh for the knowledge, it opens up this flow. Laziness will cut it. Well, futur, you know, futur means, you know, I'm tired. You get, you know, you show exhaustion. Fatir, you know, is like lukewarm. You know, fatir means like lukewarm, like you are not hot anymore, like you are not eager anymore. So kasal is a habit of laziness. Like a person coming to the class while they are like that. You know, they are coming to class kaslan. وَإِذَا قَامُوا إِلَى الصَّلَاةِ قَامُوا كُسَالًا. يعني he is lazy from the beginning. But futur is like showing activity, then drop. You know the crash? Like somebody take this 5-hour drink. You know, that's energy drink, Red Bull and stuff like that. And then you crash after a while. So that's also a bad thing when you are there. To keep steady and lower level, but steady and good, better than starting like hyper and jumping up and then, you know, fatter. That's why you have like we sometimes when we're in advanced classes, we will sit and read مثلا Sahih al-Bukhari 5-6 hours straight. Come on, we don't do that in the beginner student. So there is a sheikh coming from overseas and he is only staying 10 days there. So there is a course, advanced course for the student of knowledge to read like Bukhari and Muslim. So to read Bukhari and Muslim, there's thousands of hadith, right? So you have to actually sit and, you know, student is reading while the sheikh is listening, while everybody else is listening, right? So, and you say the hadith, you recite hadith like a Quran, yani. So you can imagine that you have to sit 5-6 hours straight. And the Sheikh maybe decides every 2 hours he will give like 5-minute break, 10-minute break, or the salah time, or go to the bathroom and things like that. So you cannot show futur at that one. Futur means like dropping now and all of that. No, if you do, step outside. Step outside of the class, go refresh and come back. But don't show you're tired, right? Don't show you're tired. You show you're tired, it breaks the cycle of this interaction we talked about. I'm just giving you some tips here, right? Especially in seeking advanced knowledge. So we're studying fiqh and everything. And also the Sheikh have his own etiquettes and adab as well, right? So he cannot overwhelm the students unless the students are ready. So we know ahead of time that we're going to be staying 5-6 hours, right? So these things don't come in the beginning. They come later. And you become like, ready for it. So, walittika. Littika means leaning. Sometimes in the class, students will start feeling tired, so they're feeling comfortable. And I saw it myself, to the point that they will start on their stomach, some youth or something like that, they were gonna go flat on their stomach, right? I wish I have a stick at that time. So, sometimes cultural or natural, it does not give the person the adab of seeking the knowledge of the deen. Knowledge of the deen is different. We said in the beginning, we are talking about the etiquettes of seeking the knowledge of the deen. If there is other traditions or something, we're not worried about that now. We're worried about somebody learning قال الله قال رسوله. There has to be adab for that, universal adab. Don't tell me Americans do this, or Egyptians do this, or Arab or Pakistani do this. We don't care about that now. Okay? So there is certain adab in learning the Quran. You cannot learn the Quran while you are sleeping in your bed and doing the mushaf like this. It's not good. Right? This is not good. As I told you before, somebody is on his deathbed. And once they say, Qala Rasulullah, he struggles to sit up. He said, I cannot hear the hadith, the word of Rasulullah, while I'm lying back like this. There is nothing haram in that. While he's sick also, but he lived that life. Another one, Imam Abu Yusuf al-Qadi, student of Imam Abu Hanifa, he was in his deathbed. He died a few hours later than this incident. Somebody asked him a mas'ala of fiqh. He said, bring me the pen and paper. He said, what? Pen and paper what? He said, I want to write this. And I want to search it. So I meet Allah Azza wa Jal with one extra piece of knowledge. I want to stand in front of Allah with one مسألة من العلم زيادة that I solved it before I die. And he died a few hours later. You see, this is the adab with knowledge. They lived that life. That's why we are studying the deen from them now. When a person lives that adab, that etiquette, subhanallah, barakah in the dunya and barakah after death and barakah in yawm al-qiyamah. Wouldn't you like this? So that's exactly what we're trying. Forget about those who said, oh, you're making it too much. Why? Knowledge is easy. Islam is easy. You don't have to do this. Don't listen to that. Ever. When somebody does this, they are pulling you down. Don't listen to it. Wallahi, as one of the scholars of the Tabi'in said, he said, if Ahl dunya, the people of the dunya, they know the happiness and the joy we have in our hearts with teaching and studying this knowledge, they will come with their swords to steal it from us. If they really know the kind of joy and happiness that we have when we're studying and teaching this knowledge, they will come and try to take it from us. Because they're people of dunya, that's what they do. They struggle and fight for the dunya, right? For the money and all that, they struggle and fight and wars happen and all of this. But the people of knowledge don't have that. You just sit in the class, listen from the sheikh. You are a sheikh, you give the class. No fighting. No issues. So if people know the value of this, they will come. If they can steal it, they will steal it. You see? So this is very important. And you will not feel that in the beginning. In the beginning, you suffer a lot. Because this is the test. Shaitan and dunya and your family and your friends. And lots of distractions will start coming at you. Lots of distractions. That's why you find the class starts full. Then it keeps dropping, right? That's the whole idea. Yeah. But this is the whole idea. 20 years later, you find yourself still sitting in halqa of ilm, make sajda to Allah, said, Alhamdulillah. That's what it is. People don't notice. The people don't notice. But when you find yourself the one, and those faces around you are the same, actually you should be happy. You should be happy. You know, subhanallah, Allah Azza wa Jal sifts. You know the sifter? Sifting. Everything is sifting, choosing. وَلِيُمَحِّصَ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. Allah Azza wa Jal always make tamhis. Tamhis means election, of the election. Who stands at the end? These are the ones that count. Otherwise, everybody would have been a sheikh. Everybody would have been a scholar in fiqh and hadith and tawheed and aqeedah and seerah, and everything. But why there are few? The higher the level in knowledge, fewer they are, correct or not? Yes, why? Because this sifting process, everybody has a capacity. Everybody has a capacity. That's why I'm saying, 20 years later from today, you find yourself still seeking the knowledge, say Alhamdulillah, should be proud and happy. Yeah? Because you then is more knowledgeable and better than now. And you now more knowledgeable and better than yesterday, than last month, than now you are advancing. But the shaitan and the people of dunya trying to make you feel that you are not progressing. That's why I was telling sisters yesterday in a class, always account and always check on yourself. Daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, whatever you want. Put it even in the calendar. Sit for 1 hour, do nothing except compare yourself. Pick one thing and compare yourself 10 years ago and now. Can you do that exercise, inshallah? Can we do that exercise? Check. Example. Today, after you do all your job, alhamdulillah, you do your duties, your spouse, your children, nobody needs anything, alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen, find a day like that. And just, if you can do wudu, if you have prayer, you do wudu and pray 2 rak'ah, and just sit in a place which is calm and nice, right, at your house. If you don't have salah on you, the issue, just sit in that corner in house and just say istighfar to Allah Azza wa Jal. I'm advising you now. Just start with istighfar. Astaghfirullah, istighfar as many times as you can until your heart settles down first. Your heart settles down. Once your heart settles down and you feel in the mood of istighfar and all of that, then start picking one thing. Quran. My relationship with Quran. What was it like 10 years ago? 20 years ago? Just keep going back as far as you can, right? And then now. Now is lesser, same, or more? Okay, my salah. Lesser, same, or more? My knowledge. Lesser, same, or more? Family. Lesser, same, or more? Just pick one thing and compare. That is muhasabah. What is this called? Muhasabah. If my salah was so good when I was in college, but it's not good now, why? Right? If my knowledge was more and I used to read 5-6 books every month, now I'm not reading any. Why? Right? Quran, I memorized the Juz Amma 20 years ago, and now still Juz Amma. Why? 20 years, you could not memorize one line every week. You see, this is called what? Muhasabah. Whatever comes from muhasabah for a believer is always good. Not frustration, but actually more blaming to yourself and moving forward. So etiquettes of seeking knowledge will help you that. So sitting, how you sit in the class for the Sheikh is very important. انصراف الذهن وفتوره. So sometimes the person is active and sitting in the class and all of that, but they are not there. They're distracted. That's why the Sheikh, whenever he asks a question, will know who's attentive and who's not. Even if you don't know the answer, that's not the point. The answer, sometimes I ask a question to check on engagement. Like a test balloon kind of thing. So sometimes I say, who knows what? I know that none of you knows it. I know that. But why I'm asking? To see the level of engagement. So sometimes a person is trying to find the answer. Another person is afraid to be embarrassed. And the third person is like, so what it is, excited and looking. And another one is like, nothing changed. So you know that this person is not there. You see what I'm saying? So this is very important. As a student, don't assume that the sort of knowledge of Sharia, don't assume that the Sheikh in front of you is like a machine or a robot. Okay? Before they teach, they already studied lots and lots of things, how to teach. The etiquettes of a mufti also, the etiquettes of a sheikh. If I'm teaching tafsir, what are the etiquettes I should have? If I'm teaching hadith, what the etiquettes I should have? A little bit stricter, If I'm teaching fiqh, what are the etiquettes I have? Okay? If I'm teaching advanced students, young students, men, women, children, lay person, ammi, or a student of knowledge, it's different. So there are ways to know that students are still attentive or not. شوف. So there is the Khatib al-Baghdadi, one of the great scholars, rahimahullah, he said something else. حق الفائدة ألا تساق إلا إلى مبتغيها ولا تعرض إلا على الراغب فيها فإذا رأى المحدث بعض الفتور من المستمع فليسكت فإن بعض الأدباء قال نشاط القائل على قدر فهم المستمع. نشاط القائل على قدر فهم المستمع. احفظوها دي مهم بالذات لما بنقعد عائلات كده. When we sit as families and all of that, sometimes a person has the shahwa to talk only. Shahwa, desire, lust, يعني. Just want to talk. What if the person in front of you doesn't want to listen? عجيب والله. Sometimes like talk. خلاص يعني I don't have the ability to listen. Sometimes I just want peace. So they say here, he says, the right of knowledge, fa'idah means some benefit. What is the right of the benefit upon us? Is not to be given except to those who desire it. To those who desire it and those who seek it. You just don't give it to anybody. Like sometimes you just want to speak and teach people. Well, maybe they're not ready. Maybe they're not ready. So sometimes the person comes and complains to me, Ya Sheikh, these people are not listening. I'm teaching them this hadith in Sahih al-Bukhari. Ya akhi, teach them 40 hadith al-awwal. Teach them La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Why teach them Bukhari? Of course they will not listen. So sometimes a person he chose to teach Bukhari or Muslim in a masjid. Is these people that level? Maybe they want to listen to seerah. They want to listen to story. So على قدر المستمع. So he said, only you give it except to those who desire it. If a muhaddith, if the talker finds the person in front of them start dropping, they should stop. Yes, good. That's why sometimes the sheikh is enough for today. And sometimes the sheikh will ask students, do you want to stop or that? Be very honest, by the way. When a sheikh asks you, do you want more or can we stop here? Be honest. Say stop here. Don't be embarrassed from the sheikh. Because actually an honest sheikh would ask you that question and he means it. Because you cannot detect you're still interested or you are out. So be honest. Wallah sheikh, we would love to hear more, but I think we believe this is enough for today so we can absorb it. See adab and also talking. Oh no, stop, enough for today. You don't do that. So you have to also address it nicely. Subhanallah, kalam like sihr. The kalam, the words like sihr, like magic. And Rasulullah said that. Inna min al-bayani la sihra. From the speech, it's like magic. It affects. Somebody will talk and all the people want to listen. And somebody talk, it's like throwing stones and rocks at people. And say the same thing. They're saying the same exact thing. So, he said, Khatib al-Baghdadi is still saying, he said, it was narrated that someone said, حدث القوم ما رمقوك بأبصارهم فإذا رأيت منهم فترة فانزع. Talk to people as long as you see they are looking at you and they're excited about what you said. If you see that they are started, going different places, enough, wrap it up. So that's why you find the students looking at the watch or looking at the clock or started that's it. That's why studies here, they say, okay, the child's attention span is like 5-7 minutes. So every 5-7 minutes, they change things in the class. Little ones, right? So they say to teachers, you move around, now paper and a pen, stand up and do this, all these kind of things, right? And also they say, 15 minutes for adults. You have to actually switch things, switch gears. So that's why, for instance, ask a question, say a story, make a joke, do something. Here we have like a PowerPoint, changing the things, so that keeps renewing your attention. Renewing your attention. Unless the person, subhanAllah, the charisma or something, he can talk for hours and everybody's like mesmerized. This gift from Allah Azza wa Jalla. Rasulullah was like that, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Okay. والبخاري رضي الله عنه, he رحمه الله, he narrated the hadith of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, the hadith of Abdullah ibn Mas'ud رضي الله عنه, that Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم كان رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يتخولنا بالموعظة في الأيام مخافة السآمة علينا. يتخولنا بالموعظة في الأيام مخافة السآمة علينا. يعني he sallallahu alayhi wasallam used to give us the maw'idha every now and then out of fear that we become bored. Boring. That's Rasulullah. Even they are excited, they want to listen to him at all times. But yet he says that he is giving us maw'idha fil ayyam. One day there is a khatira, one day no, like that. Easy on them. Why? Because he's afraid that they become bored of that. So sometimes people think, the Sheikh speaks good when there is a bigger number in the class, and he speaks not that interesting when there is a small number in the class. And sometimes people will take this in a negative way, that the Sheikh likes to show off in front of people. أحسن الظن. As a student of knowledge, you have to have the benefit of doubt. Give people benefit of doubt. People, subhanallah, more people gives more energy to the speaker. Not necessarily he only likes to have bigger audience. It may be the case, but his niyyah is between him and Allah Azza wa Jal. But believe me, when you have more audience, a person can be very sincere actually, giving better advice with more audience, because more benefit, more barakah, more people actually attentive. So the Sheikh want to give more, because now in the Jum'ah, I have 1,000 people in front of me and they are all attentive. It makes me more excited to give. It's not like I'm giving only good speeches in bigger audience. Sometimes people think negative on that one. Well, yeah, I give better speeches in more audience, but in a positive way. Because now I have 1,000 people who had the chance to have 1,000 people to give them the advice. Now I'm thinking like, maybe out of 1,000 people, if 10% Allah guides, that's 100. But if 100 people, 10% is 10. 10 people, 1. Yeah, 1 is great. But I want the maslaha and I want the benefit to have more, expand more, reach more people. Who doesn't want that? Who does not want their good message to be delivered to more people? You don't accuse them that they always have bad intention. Actually, some people have good intention, and that's why they speak good in bigger gatherings. Now understand that sometimes things are twisted. Yeah, so have benefit of doubt. Don't accuse people that, the Sheikh's quality is better when the room is full of students. Well, okay, good. So make sure that you have the room full of students every time he speaks. What's wrong with that? I'm telling you, sometimes we have taboos, or we have things that always only interpreted or understood in a negative connotation. Okay? So I said in this masjid before, somebody come and say to me, Ya Sheikh, you want people to come, cook biryani for them, or cook food and they will come. And they're saying it in a mocking way, sarcastic way. I say, well, if this is a good thing, we will do it. Why not? What is wrong with that? Is it haram? What do I want people to do? I want them to listen to the nasiha, right? Right? I want them to listen to the nasiha, listen to the knowledge. Now, to bring them to listen to the knowledge, there are different ways. I can invite them and say, I'll be honored to have you. Some people will come. I can tell them we have like a carnival for the kids, other community will come. I tell them we have a nice dinner, community will come. Sometimes you tell them that restaurant is serving dinner, more people will come. So now don't accuse people that they came for that. Okay? Just say it into your own self. Forget about their niyyah. What do you want? I want them here. That's what I want. How to bring them here, as long as it is a halal way, I don't mind. I don't mind. If you bring the youth and say, come to the masjid, we have a basketball tournament, but my intention is I want them to come to the masjid, fine. Do a basketball tournament to bring them to the masjid. Cook food to bring people to the masjid. Have iftar every day in Ramadan to make sure that they pray. It's all right. It's okay. So I'm just telling you how to reframe the negative things that we sometimes think about people. You know, Sheikh, when you do like this art festival, when you do this and that, people come and they are not practicing and whatever. Well, that's fine. They came at least. Now, what we do is another thing. What we tell people to dress is another thing. How we tell them to behave is another thing. But do we want them to come or not? Yeah, so let's talk about it. But don't tell me cancel that because it brings people who are not whatever. No, do we want to bring people or not? If we say yes, then we could go to the next step. People come to the masjid when we cook. Yes or no? Yes. What you do when they come. Don't question why they come. Question what do you want them to have when they come. You understand? So, but it's easy to point fingers and accuse others. That's the easiest thing. It's the easiest thing. When a sister with hijab, point finger to a sister without hijab. That's the easiest thing. But how do you make that sister feel comfortable with you? That is the issue. You know, she should feel comfortable with you. That's step number one. But it's easy to segregate ourselves from those who are different. That's the easiest thing, actually. Safest thing to do is always to be with those alike. But once you push yourself out of your comfort zone, then will show your capacity of inviting people. Only out of your comfort zone. So, Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to give maw'idha only when they are interested in all of that. Number 21, الكتابة عن الشيخ حال الدرس والمذاكرة. You're going to write and record whatever you are listening to. You're going to write and record whatever you are listening to. And it differs from one sheikh to another. He says, وَلِهَذَا أَدَبٌ وَشَرْط. For writing and for recording, what the sheikh says, and taking notes, it has adab, an etiquette, and it has a shart, condition. أما الأدب فينبغي لك أن تعلم شيخك أنك ستكتب. فينبغي لك أن تعلم شيخك أنك ستكتب. أو كتبت ما سمعته مذاكرة. أو كتبت ما سمعته مذاكرة. يعني he's saying that all right. Saying that you have to let your sheikh know that you are writing. That you're writing notes. Like for example, I allowed everybody can take notes. Remember, I said that in the beginning, in the first halqa. That was not haphazard. I know this is coming, right? So I want to save you the issue. Because now, imagine if I did not say that in the beginning. Said, oh, I've been writing without the sheikh's permission. Oh my God, like that, right? So I told you in the beginning, we're recording, but you can write, and writing is important. Remember when I emphasized on that? Go back to the first lecture, you'll remember. Why? So always you ask the sheikh, Sheikh, can I record the lecture? Sheikh, can I write behind you? Right? And even sometimes the sheikh will assign that a person takes notes. That's the official notes. Anybody else taking notes? I don't care. But that person will be taking the notes. So if later, because it leads to other things, by the way. These notes can be spread later on. And somebody said, Sheikh, I came across notes from your class that you said such and such and such. I said, no. He said, no. This is a student who attended, and that student attended, right? But now if I give you permission, I know exactly who wrote. Right? That's why the sister sent the notes, and then, I will say, this is the official note. At the end of the class, I will do them, I'll sign it, I'll say, these are the official class notes. Any notes you have for yourself, it's up to you. But you cannot use my name because it represents you only. Okay, it represents you, how you heard it, how you did it. Now we have a recording. That's another level of security now. Yes? Because if somebody wrote something, we go back to the recording. I did not say that. Right? Or maybe I said it and you wrote it, but then I can come and say, that's not what I meant. That's a slip of the tongue. So recording is very important. And that's why you will see in the etiquettes coming, lots of problems happen from tasheef. Tasheef means altering something because heard it wrong or wrote a letter instead of another letter. Okay, so it's very important also to review those notes with your classmates and with the Sheikh and all of that. So you have to ask. So that's the adab. Or at the end of the lecture you said, yeah, Sheikh, I wrote everything you said. Would you mind reviewing it, or I'll send it to you, or is that okay with you? أما الشرط, the condition, فتشير إلى أنك كتبته من سماعه في درسه من درسه. That you have to write that I heard this from the Sheikh in that day on your notes. So that means everybody read it later, they know that you heard this. Right? This is not the Sheikh's writing. For example, and you are not writing from a board. Okay? So this is your hearing. So if I read later, 100 years later from your notes, I know that this is sama', this is like hearing, was not reviewed. Like now, you go to libraries and stuff, they say this paper is peer reviewed. Peer reviewed, right? Peer reviewed. Now, this is a trusted paper more than just somebody submitted his paper, right? Like if I wrote a paper about something and I post it, and you go to Google Scholar, there is a Google Scholar, right? Google Scholar browser only brings you professional academic papers, right? So Google Scholars. Or any college has that service. So you go to Google Scholar and you write about elementary school education, just elementary school education. So you will find like thousands of papers somebody submitted. So sometimes when you click, they say this paper is written by, and there are 5-6 people there. Those wrote the paper. And sometimes they say this paper is peer reviewed. Peer reviewed means all the people who in the field, they reviewed that paper and submitted their feedback to the author, and the author edited it. So that paper actually went through scrutiny. It went through review, academic review. So when you read it, it's more trustworthy, right? So same thing here when you write that I heard, those are notes from hearing the Sheikh in such and such day. So when somebody open up a note, they have that in the back of their head that this was your notes. Okay, those were your notes. Very important. All right. Now there is one important one here, which is number 22. التلقي عن المبتدع. يعني acquiring knowledge from somebody who is following a bid'ah. طبعا the Sheikh here, the author of this book, I just want to tell you, he's a hardliner in few issues. يعني he's strong. The Sheikh is known for his views that are very strict at times. Okay, and there's another thing, as a student of knowledge, you have to know the whereabouts of the author that you are reading. That's why you'll find always beginner students of knowledge, they become impacted by the school that they are learning in, right? So you find the students coming from Al-Azhar University different from the students who come from Medina University, different from the students who come from the Islamic University of Malaysia or the Islamic University of Pakistan. You put all those four beside each other who studied the same field, and you will see different. That's a fresh student coming out of college. All right? Now 10 years later, they are different. 20 years later, they are different. 40 years later, they're completely different. Why? Because experience and being in touch with other scholarship and age and maturity and all of that adds to the flexibility and acceptance and many other things, right? Hikmah, knowledge and all of that. But you will see certain people when they're studying like one madhab. So if somebody coming from Pakistan, for example, they are studying Hanafi madhab, they are not open to any other madhab, they are like one way. Coming from Medina, they are like certain issues in Aqidah and, Salafi stuff and all this kind of hardcore things, like haram and halal and bid'ah, like that, labeling everywhere they go. And the other one is like strict with his thing, like tunnel vision, and they will not accept anything. And I'm not saying, by the way, as a blanket or a categorical. I'm just describing here, right? I'm just describing. All of them are khair. All of them are good people, right? Fear Allah Azza wa Jalla, they wanted to. So I'm describing, not to put anybody down, I'm just describing a fact here. Right? So somebody coming, fresh out of college, this is the only thing they know. It affects the way they present now and the way you see them. Okay? Somebody coming from Al-Azhar, sometimes they're kind of lost because they studied everything and everything is okay. So they become very permissive in certain ways, right? So you have strict in this side, okay? And you have like a little bit permissive on that side, all right? And then after a while, you will find, subhanAllah, this is an amazing phenomena. You don't notice it when you are a lay person. You notice it in the community of shuyukh, yani. All right? The sheikhs who met together in Imam conference 10 years ago, and we meet with each other every year, over 10 years, you can see the big, huge difference. You can actually see those two on the side coming to the middle like this. Amazingly. And you will find people who are in the middle going like this. Amazingly also. All right? And some people who are here and they went extra. And some people who are here and they went extra. It's a phenomenon. I'm just telling you, it depends. It's not what you studied only. There are many other factors. And it's ajib, you're going to sit like you're watching like a movie or something. Yeah, so this is, some people adopt certain, so the author was like kind of in the strict side, rahimahullah. So he says here, تلقي عن المبتدع, taking from a person of bid'ah. يقول احذر أبا الجهل المبتدع الذي مسه زيغ العقيدة وغشيته سحب الخرافة يحكم الهوى ويسميه العقل ويعدل عن النص وهل العقل إلا في النص ويستمسك بالضعيف ويبعد عن الصحيح ويقال لهم أيضا أهل الشبهات وأهل الأهواء ولذا كان ابن المبارك رحمه الله يسمي المبتدعة الأصاغر. So he says, be careful of Abu al-Jahl. You know Abu Jahl? Abu Jahl is like Abu al-Hakam Amr ibn Hisham. His name Abu Jahl, the father of ignorance. He says here, the father of the ignorance is the person who deviate and innovate in the religion. Making innovation in the religion is something big. Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in the hadith, Aisha radiallahu anha, which many scholars said, هذا الحديث نصف العلم. يقول النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم, Sahih Muslim, this hadith, Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, من أحدث في أمرنا هذا ما ليس منه فهو رد أو فهو رد عليه أو كما قال صلى الله عليه وسلم. Whoever innovate in our religion what is not from it, it will go back on him or her. It is not accepted. And the scholar said this hadith is half of the ilm. Half of the ilm. What is the other half? إنما الأعمال بالنيات. The other half is the hadith of Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu in Bukhari and Muslim and others. He said that أعمال بالنيات. The first hadith we study all the time. The أعمال is counting by niyyah. Because why it is half of the ilm? Because half of the ilm is internal ilm, your niyyah, and the other half is external, right? Is external. So if we, divide the deen into two halves or divide the ilm into two halves, there are external things, external practices, and you have to be careful that you are following. You are not innovating, and you have an internal things. You have to be committed, not deviated, right? So intention. So internally, you have to be committed to the sincere intention, otherwise you'll deviate. And the external, you have to be following, not innovating. Because if you're not following, you're going to innovate. You're going to follow someone else. How are you going to practice the deen? You have to follow something. If you're not follow, then you make up your own. So he said, be careful from taking the knowledge from someone who is deviant in aqidah. And he is clouded, his thinking is clouded by superstition. There are some scholars like that, yeah. Some scholars, their belief system is not good, but they are good in linguistics, for example. Some people, they are very good in linguistics. You go learn nahu, sarfu, balagha, wa arudu, usul fiqh, things that, ulum al-ala, or the tools, linguistics, Arabic, poetry, adab, literature, stuff like that. But in the section of aqidah, they have issues. They believe in the people in the grave and that they will benefit and they will do these kind of things. So what you do is that some of the scholars said, don't even go to them. But you have to understand, those scholars said don't even learn anything from them. At that time, there were abundance of scholars in the same field. Okay? So if you have few scholars there of tajweed, they teach tajweed, Quran yani, tajweed and qira'at and all of that. But they have some deviation somewhere. And there are some other scholars who are in the same level, but they're straightforward. Then you're not supposed to go to those ones because there is someone else that you can get. You can get from. But if there is none but that person, or that person is the best, then you go only with a filter. You go only to them, but not to learn the things that they are deviated in. All right? Not to get the things that they have issues with. All right? So in fiqh, they have problems with fiqh. They have ara' shadha, they have irregular things and fatwas and all of that. But they are so good in the fundamentals of the usul, fiqh and all of that, right? So you study that from them, but don't study the other one. Filter it. Even if they keep dumping it on you, like, giving you these ideas, filter it. That's why it's dangerous. So when a person, that's why when you pick a sheikh, I told you last time, always somebody has to be for you like a mentor or like a coach. It does not matter their level of knowledge is high or small, but that person is a life coach. Like a life coach in knowledge, you are not going to be taking the knowledge only from that. Maybe that sheikh has a certain level, you already got the knowledge and you become more knowledgeable, but they still becoming your coach, right? Because they guide you. That's very important. And you pick that one based on the taqwa and the deen and the piety and knowledge and all of that. Then, that's why I told you last time, ask your sheikh, who's that coach or mentor, before you learn from someone else. He will tell you, learn from that sheikh, but learn that thing. Or be careful of that. Or when you hear that, you just filter it out. Like these things, right? So it's very important. This is our deen, So Abdullah ibn al-Mubarak, he was saying that, he was saying that these people of bid'ah are the low lives or are the minors. He is not giving them a status, right? Al-asaghir yani. Those are the little ones. Don't go learn from someone little. Why? Because they were someone big. So why you go to someone deviated? So in our life now, in our time, there is lots and lots of people who have issues, but they are good in one thing. Learn that thing and leave. All right? Because the problem now in our life, that people mix. Any religious person, he becomes a leader. He becomes a sheikh and a mufti and a scholar and a speaker and everything. No. It is not like that. He used to call the people of the bid'ah the people with no value. But at that time there were abundance. So now the problem is that everybody who is speaking or everybody who led salah, they becomes a sheikh, the mufti, the alim, everything. No. Now for you as a student of knowledge, you have to learn how to distinguish. How to distinguish. Because by the end of this book, should have standards. We should have standards. If you want to ask somebody for fatwa, right? They have a list. They have a checklist in your head. Did this person studied fiqh? Did this person belong to an institution or is he qualified to give the fatwa? If you say yes or no, based on what? Right? So as Sheikh Mamdouh, you're asking Mamdouh here in the Masjid al-Salam, am I giving you my own fatwas or I am quoting for you somebody else's fatwa? If I'm quoting for you somebody else's fatwa, I'm not a mufti. The title mufti does not mean that you give your own fatwas or whatever. Okay? That's why people think mufti means he can give you his own opinion. La, there are the only few people in the world who can do that. Who reached that level of ijtihad, so to give opinion about something was not there before, like a new issue or a contemporary issue. But if you ask a question and I tell you such and such, I'm just a carrier. I'm not a mufti. All right? So we have to know these things. All right, you have a question about tajweed al-Quran, whom to ask in Houston? Someone who has ijazah, someone who knows this and that, right? And you have to know where this ijazah is from as well. Okay, you want to ask tafsir, who are the people in the tafsir? Well, everybody can sit and make a tafsir halqa. Everybody can sit and make a fatwa night or whatever. Does that make them a mufti or a scholar or a sheikh? No. someone comes in the TV or have like 1 million people follow on Twitter or Facebook, does that make them a sheikh? Unfortunately, that's what it makes somebody a sheikh now. You know, famous, and sheikh such and such, and sheikh such and such, and they don't have it. They did not even have formal Islamic education. But it's just because they are a speaker, and everybody wants them to give a khutbah and the fundraising and this and that, but people put people in places, and then after 20 years or 30 years, you discover that that person did not even sit in a formal halqa in front of a sheikh to study. Everybody can open a book and read from it. Doesn't mean that they are knowledgeable, right? And a big, huge sheikh can have a book and read from it and teach. It does not mean that they are less of a sheikh, or they cannot speak from their memory means they are bad people. No. So, person who's mubtada', you be very careful, right? Somebody who has bid'ah, you know, we know that. So people, they're not following the sunnah. They do like dancing and stuff like that in the zikr. And they say the Prophet comes in this and that. And, you know, there are issues. If there is a scholar in there who teaches something that nobody else teaches, so be careful. You are going there for that specific thing, not what they do. And you have to be very careful. This is darura. You know, like somebody drinking wine because they're going to die if they don't drink wine, or eat pork because it's just like that. So you have that in your head, yeah. Okay, so this is very, very important. Also, he says, be careful of those who reject the text and say, we use our mind. That's bid'ah too. Like there are some people, actually some sheikhs, in our time right now. That's why I was telling you, some people were like in the middle and they started going there. We see that. Like there is a trend now going like with the younger generation of imams or whatever they are, and they started using their mind and they reject hadith in Sahih al-Bukhari, they reject the tafsir of certain ayahs and they make their own. Yani, it's ironical. You know, it's ironical. Like they say, oh, this is the opinion of people. Well, you are making your opinion also, so why should I accept it then? You know, it's like, what are you doing? Like, you know, what would I rather do? Somebody who is known pious and righteous and they die as pious and righteous and everybody did this? Or somebody who's just thought that this is whatever, and which one should I follow? Who are you? And they start saying things very bad. Like, you know, this ru'ya that Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam saw slaughtering his son Ismail is not from Allah. This was like a dream, and Ibrahim acted on it, alayhi salam, and because of it, all these animals are slaughtered every year for no reason. You see? So things like that, using their mind. And Bukhari and Muslim and all this hadith and that hadith and all of this. And they started, because once you deviate, then you build up a system. Without you knowing it, you know, they build up a system. Because they reject something, then they will get a roadblock. Right? So they'll get a roadblock. And then roadblock, they have to get over it or around it. Then they will do another problem. And then they get a bigger roadblock. Okay? So they will keep deviating like that. But when you are on the straight path, ihdina as-sirat al-mustaqim, it's easy, smooth. People 1400 years are going in front of you. So you are not reinventing the wheel here. You are not reinventing the wheel. But the problem with the person who deviate, it's not going to end with one deviation. Because one deviation, you'll find many people telling you to come back. But if you insist, it's going to become bigger and bigger. Yes? So if he says, this is a dream. Well, okay. So what about what Allah Azza wa Jalla says in the Quran? لَقَدْ صَدَّقْتَ الرُّؤْيَا يَا إِبْرَاهِيمُ قَدْ صَدَّقْتَ الرُّؤْيَا إِنَّ كَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الْمُحْسِنِينَ وَفَدَيْنَاهُ بِذِبْحٍ عَظِيمٍ. Right? يَا بُنَيَّ إِنِّي أَرَى فِي الْمَنَامِ أَنِّي أَذْبَحُكَ فَانظُرْ مَاذَا تَرَىٰ. Why Allah said it in the Quran? Then they stuck now. So they will come now and try to say, oh, it doesn't mean this, but it means that. See? Deviation? Then, okay, what about this mufassirin? Then he's stuck again. Right? They will say, you know what? We reject the tafsir. You see how it goes? They will say, but in Bukhari and Muslim saying that Allah revealed such and such and make Ibrahim, but Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, رؤيا الأنبياء وحي. مثلا يعني. You give him a hadith that said, oh, Bukhari has lots of da'if hadith in it also. Now you understand where it goes? And that's how people deny sunnah. And they deny the tafsir. Then, they end up at the end somewhere else out of Islam altogether. And they're stuck. They cannot come back. Ego, arrogance, they cannot come back. And that's how it is. How it is. That's why Sheikh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah said, there is no single person of bid'ah except I can prove their bid'ah wrong from their own bid'ah. With their own rules. They make for themselves a system that they actually cannot follow their own system. So once you say, you are saying this and this and this. Yes? He said yes. He said, okay, but what about that? It destroys the whole thing. Like, this bid'ah of, Quran is created or it is the words of Allah. Allah said kun fayakun and something called Quran came up, or Allah spoke the Quran. Because, those who said Allah spoke the Quran, that means Allah has a tongue and lips and speak, right? So they will get to that issue. So they deny that Allah spoke the Quran. You understand where it goes? So I'm telling you, sometimes when a person deviates, it leads to a bigger deviation. They said, oh, Allah cannot talk. Why? Because talking means tongue and teeth and lips. That means Allah has a face and a body and all of that. Then Allah does not talk. Allah is mute. If He doesn't talk, means He is not able to talk. Are you saying that? Then they get stuck, right? So, okay, Allah talks. Other side, Allah talks. Then how's the solution? It's simple. He just talks, but not like us. Does the ant talk? The ant talks or doesn't talk? They talk. They actually talk. Because, in the Quran, قالت نملة. قالت نملة. يا أيها النمل ادخلوا مساكنكم. One of the ants said to the other ants, and Sayyidina Sulaiman heard it. But did anybody else hear it? But it talks. So can you put an ant in front of you and see that it has a teeth and a tongue and مخارج الحروف ألف باء تاء وكده وقلقلة all of that Exactly. So it talks. Allah says it talks. Now, do we know it talks or not? Are you alive or dead? Alive. Is this tree alive or dead? Okay, there is a cat beside the tree. Alive or dead? Is the life the same? Is your life the life of the tree? But it's alive, and the animal is alive, and you are alive, and the fish in the ocean is alive, and above all, Allah is alive. Is Allah alive or dead? Allahu la ilaha illa huwa al-hayy al-qayyum la ta'khudhu sinatun. What does that mean? We don't know. So it is exactly so Allah talks, but in a way fits Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah sits, but in a way fits Him. It doesn't mean stand and sit and place and all of that. So don't get into this issue. That's the Ahl Sunnah. Why I'm telling you this? Because this was a fitna at the time of Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. Right? That a group came and the Khalifa liked whatever they said and adopted it and started killing and torturing any scholar who says the Quran is word of Allah. Quran is created, like Allah created heavens and earth and human and all that. He created something called Quran and revealed it. Khalas. And everybody believes like this, and even the scholars who don't believe it, they just to save themselves, except one person. Imam Ahmad. And 3 Khalifas punish him and torture him and all of that. Okay? And he says, Al-Qur'anu kalamullah minhu bada'a wa ilayhi ya'ud. Ituni bi ayatin fi kitabillah ahkumu bih. He says the Quran are words of Allah. It came from Him and it will go back to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala at the end. Right? So that's it. How? This is another deal. What kind of words is another deal. But we believe that the Quran is the kalam of Allah Azza wa Jal. Right? And they keep punishing him and torturing him. Almost he died. But he is the only one on the face of earth who stayed like this. And subhanAllah, because of him, Allah saved. That's why the ulama said Allah saved the deen with Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu after Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. When the Ridda, people separate, and Muslimin did not want to fight other Muslims. Because they said, Abu Bakr said, they are not Muslim. If they deny something that Allah said, give zakah, and they give Rasulullah, I will fight them, even if it is a rope of a camel. Okay, so Allah saved because of one person, and Allah saved the Ummah of Islam till Yawm al-Qiyamah because of Ahmad ibn Hanbal stance. Somebody told him in the jail, Ya Imam, just say it so you can leave. just say, okay, and believe whatever you want, right? He told him, look from the window of the jail cell. He looked from the window, he found 20,000 people, about 20,000 people standing out there. Each one of them have a paper and a pen, waiting for what Imam Ahmad would say. He told them, I can't say it. Even if I am allowed to, يعني kufr, you are allowed to say kufr, and this is way less. He said, I will never do it. Why? Because it will be recorded in the history. He knows his own value, not arrogance, right? He knows whatever I say, 20,000 people write. How would they know my niyyah? I said it, that's it. That's what counts now. So nobody on the face of earth, everybody believes. So till Yawm al-Qiyamah, now we don't have that fitna now. No one in the face of earth believes that fitna now. Nobody, no one, no Muslim say La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah believe in that fitna now. You know how Imam Ahmad was saved? See, Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal was not saved except by a normal guy. That's what I'm trying to tell you. A person of bid'ah does not have basis. A person coming from Sham, Syria, to the Khalifa. He said, I want to talk about this fitna. And the man who initiated the fitna, he was staying there with the Khalifa. Any scholar comes, he argue with him and he defeat him in the argument. All right? And Imam Ahmad does not want to argue. He said, just bring me a dalil and I will follow it. And they beat him up. So this man comes, he said, I want to argue with this guy. I want to debate. We don't know the name of the man. يقولون شيخ من الشام. A person coming from Sham, older guy with white beard, they come, said, I want to debate with your guy. To the Khalifa, you know. So he said, yeah. So he told him, what you say now, did Rasulullah know it or he did not know it? You know? Did Rasulullah know what you are saying? Quran is this piece of knowledge that you have. Did Rasulullah knew it or he did not know it? He said he knew it. He said, tell me where it is. Narrate to me the hadith that where he says the Quran is created. He says, then he does not know it. He said, that means you know that, then that means you are accusing, and if you say Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam knew it, right? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam knew it, you have to provide the proof. Then we will not have that problem now. Yeah? And if you say that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not know it, that means you are a prophet now. Because you know you discovered something that Rasulullah himself did not discover it. And the Khalifa said, what is your answer? He did not have an answer. So the Khalifa started laughing until he went to the ground, you know. He said, oh, you are a prophet now. That means you know something that the prophet himself did not know. Get out of here. And he get Imam Ahmad out of jail. You see, sometimes it takes a little bit to prove someone deviated as nothing, has no basis. Has no basis. You are talking about the Quran, but you have no basis. And subhanAllah, all these scholars died and all of that, and they did not figure out how to, right? But someone debate. So people of bid'ah have no basis. But subhanAllah, they have masses following them. Why? Because people like superstition. That's why we need to elevate ourselves to the level of the seeker of knowledge. So some people, they use their aql. Some people, they deviate in their religion. They want to be closer to Allah, but with something that the Prophet did not do. Okay, did the Prophet know this or he did not know this? He asked that question, you know. Did the Prophet do this or he did not do this? Or the Prophet did not do it. That means it's not better than the Sunnah of the Prophet. Am I obligated to follow it? No, you are not obligated to follow it. Okay, so why are you doing it now? Why are you doing something that the Prophet did not do? Is it better, same, or less? If it is less, I don't want it. If it is the same, means you are equal to the Prophet. If it is better, you are better than the Prophet. Come on now. Right? And save yourself the argument and the discussions and all of that. And the other ones are using their aql. Oh, this makes sense. This does not make sense. All right. What if it makes sense according to you, but it does not make sense according to me? Which aql do we use? Well, sometimes you like حكم العقل. صح? طب who's aql? Who's aql? يعني you have intelligence and other people have higher IQ than you. So why don't follow them? And when you say that this does not make sense, this hadith does not make sense, Why should I follow you? And why should I follow you? You are a human being. Are you prophet? No. Do you receive wahi? No. What makes you qualified that I take your opinion over this one? Convince me and I will. You understand? Convince me and I will. What is your qualification? If they say, you know what, everybody's free to do, okay, I'm free to take this then. I'm free to follow the text. So, what's the fight about? And why are you accusing me that I'm following blindly and you are a free thinker, right? If you are a free thinker, I'm a free thinker too. And my free thinking told me to imitate this blindly. What's your problem now? And it's just common sense, you know. That's why they say, oh, the women in Islam, they are oppressed. The women of Islam come and say, we are not oppressed. No, you are oppressed. Ya akhi, we are telling you are not oppressed. No, you are oppressed, but you don't know it. Wallah, I heard it. I swear to Allah, I heard it. Wallah, it was written. This woman is oppressed by her husband. The woman comes and says, Wallah, I'm not oppressed. He loves me so much. I'm telling you, this is in writing, this correspondence, yani. And the woman comes and says, Wallah, Sheikh, I'm not oppressed. I'm very happy, and my husband is a man who fears Allah, and I love him so much, and all of that. And I send this to here's that one. She said, oh, she doesn't know it. She's hypnotized. He has so much power, he brainwashed her. What should I say now? What should I say? So these people who says that they are free thinkers or they are liberal or they are whatever, sometimes they are narrow-minded as bad as it comes. Believe me. So sometimes, you know, as they say, perception is everything, right? Perception is everything. So somebody put an idea in your head and you start seeing everything through that. That's not right. Except if it is from Allah. You understand? So when it's from Allah and His Rasul, we say sami'na wa ata'na, and nobody else can come to that status. I'm sorry. Not me, not Imam Malik, not Sahaba, not anybody. Not anybody except Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. When they say something, we only do one thing. We verify that Allah said, and we verify that Rasulullah did or said. But that's it. Once it's verified, then understanding it, and I know this is going to be shocking, comes later. But doing comes first. Okay? When it comes from someone else, it's the other way around. Okay? So when somebody come and tell you, no, drop this and follow this. No, I have mine too. When the ulama of the ummah over 1400 years agreed on it, and you come now in 2018 and tell me something completely different, why should I? Yani, come on now. Common sense says no. The common sense says no. Possibility it might be right. Against all of this, don't think so. Because Rasulullah said, لا تجتمع أمتي على ضلالة. All my ummah cannot gather on something wrong. All of them agree on it. So if something all the ummah agree on, خلاص. Nobody can come and say, oh, I discovered this. Come on now. Allah Azza wa Jal keep the ummah lost for 1400 years. And now you find a way of guidance for it? What are you saying now? What are you saying? This is not right. So الإمام مالك رحمه الله قال إمام مالك قال لا يؤخذ العلم عن أربعة. Don't take knowledge from four types of people. Don't take knowledge from four types of people. سفيه يعلن السفة. A foolish person and he's proud of it. سفيه. How you know a person is سفيه? سفيه means that they cannot make the right decision in the situation that decision is needed. That's why سفيه, if somebody give them $100, they will go buy candy and toys and stuff with $100, and then they become hungry the rest of the day. That's a سفيه. You understand me? So سفيه doesn't mean a person who is rich. That's why Allah Azza wa Jalla said, whoever is سفيه, somebody has to take care of their money for them. Okay? So sometimes there is a person سفيه in the morals, in the moral. Somebody سفيه in the way they deal with their family. Somebody is سفيه in the way they deal with the deen. سفيه. means they did not make the right decision. So he said, don't take the ilm from someone safih like this, make like foolish decisions, right? And they make it in public. وَإِنْ كَانَ أَرْوَى النَّاسِ, even if he memorized all the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, don't take ilm from them. وَصَاحِبِ بِدْعَةٍ يَدْعُو إِلَى هَوَاهِ, and an innovator who invite people to their innovation. That's number 2. وَمَنْ يَكْذِبُ فِي حَدِيثِ النَّاسِ, and the one who lies about people, exaggerates and lies and adds spices in the words and all that. وإن كنت لا أتهمه في الحديث, يعني even if I don't accuse him in the hadith, but in the hadith of people he lies. يعني he says even if he narrates the hadith of Rasulullah and does not lie, but he lies when he talks to people, I would not take the hadith from him. You understand? So يكذب في حديث الناس, يعني joking a lot, and the jokes basically lies, يعني to make people laugh. مرة واحد كذا كذا كذا. One time a person does such and such. That's a joke. Did it happen? No, that's a lie. Okay? So يعني الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم يعني يقول يعني الرجل الذي يكذب فيضحك الناس هذا يعني في نفاق. A person who lies to make the people laugh is like a hypocrite or something like that. So it is not good. Right? And Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وسلم said أنا زعيم ببيت في ربض الجنة لمن ترك الكذب ولو كان مازحا. Yes, that's what I wanted to remember. يعني I am giving glad tidings to a person with a house in the entrance of Jannah who abandoned lying even as a joke. Right? And the person in the middle of Jannah who abandoned debating even he has the right. لمن ترك المراء ولو كان محقا في وسط الجنة. وأنا زعيم ببيت في أعلى الجنة, in the highest part of Jannah, house in the highest part of Jannah, لمن حسن خلقه, who have good manners with everybody. So first layer is the one who abandoned lying even almost done. So Imam Malik, he said, don't take ilm from a safih, a foolish person who act foolishly and lightly, you know, like sometimes joking a lot and doing these kind of things, and the other person is lying in the hadith of the people. وصالح عابد فاضل إذا كان لا يحفظ ما يحدث به. So safih, a person who is foolish, a person of bid'ah, and inviting people to their bid'ah, don't take knowledge from them. A third person is the one who lies when talking to people, even if he does not lie in the hadith, I don't take the hadith from him. And the fourth person, a pious, righteous, good person, but he is not mastering knowledge. You see what I told you? Some people sometimes see somebody pious leading salah, reading Quran, and he becomes a mufti. Right? He is a pious, righteous person, but he does not have mastery on what he preaches. He mentioned lots of weak hadith, fabricated stories and all of that. You don't take knowledge from that guy, even though he's pious and righteous for himself. Okay? Imitate his piety and righteousness, but don't take knowledge from him. So the four people, again, foolish person who publicly acting silly and stuff like that. A person innovator, follow the bid'ah and inviting people to the bid'ah. A person who lies when he talks to the people, even if he does not lie in knowledge, still you don't take, because maybe he will lie one time. And the third person, a pious, righteous person, but he does not have enough knowledge, is not qualified. So four people, don't take knowledge from them. Unfortunately, people take knowledge from all four now. Yeah, so be careful, inshallah. We stop here. Naam. Allahu Akbar wa lillahi alhamd. Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen mentioned a lot of things about that. There is one nice thing I wanted to mention here. He says, فَيَا أَيُّهَا الطَّالِبِ, this is important, يعني يا أيها الطالب, O student, كن سلفيا على الجادة, be a follower of the Salaf, not Salafi with the modern term. When they say Salafi, Wahhabi, Saudi kind of thing, that's not what we mean here, right? كن سلفيا على الجادة means follow the Rasul صلى الله عليه وسلم, follow the Sahaba al-Kiram, follow the four Imams, follow the people of knowledge, right? That is سلفيا على الجادة. على الجادة means on the straight path. واحذر المبتدعة أن يفتنوك. Be careful of the fitna of mubtadi'ah, because they are sweet talkers. Sweet talker, right? They poison the honey, right? They sweet talkers, and you find them, they dress nice, humble and crying and all of that. So be careful, right? احذر أن يفتنوك فإنهم يوظفون للاقتناص والمخاتلة سبلا. They have ways, tricky ways of doing things. They will make food, they will cry in front of you, they will soft talk and all of these kind of things. So always have the measurement of Quran and Sunnah. Are they following Quran and Sunnah or not? Don't be affected, huh? يفتعلون تعبيدها بالكلام المعسول. You know, sweet words. وهو عسل مقلوب. يعني لسع. عسل. If you reverse it, it is لسع. You know, عسل, عين سين لام means honey. If you read the lam first, then سين and ع, stinging. لسع means لسع النحل. عسل النحل, honey come from the bees. لسع النحل, stinging of the bees. So he said it is honey but reversed. عسل مقلوب. وهطول الدمعة, يعني you know, lots of shedding of the tears. وحسن البزة, يعني dressing in a certain way. والإغراء بالخيالات والإدهاش بالكرامات ولحس الأيدي وتقبيل الأكتاف وما وراء ذلك إلا وحم البدعة. يعني all of these things that you see is a show. You know, the kissing your hands and you know, very humble and all that. And karama, this and the Sheikh saw a dream and da da da. All be careful, huh? Be careful of these things. ورهج الفتنة. It is like fire of fitna. يغرسها في فؤادك. He will plant that seed in your heart. ويعتملك في شراكه, and he will put you in their trap. In their trap. فوالله لا يصلح الأعمى لقيادة العميان وإرشادهم. A blind person cannot lead blind people. Lay people are like blind people, and a person of bid'ah is like a blind person. So it's be very careful. أما الأخذ عن علماء السنة, taking from the scholars of Sunnah, فالعق العسل ولا تسل. يعني drink the honey as much as you can and don't ask. Just keep taking from the علماء of the Sunnah. وفقك الله لرشدك لتنهل من ميراث النبوة صافية. Take from the inheritance of the prophethood. وإلا فليبكي على الدين من كان باكيا. So all of these things important. Then the Sheikh said all of this when you have choices. If you don't have choices, like I said, accept that person, filter and be careful, and take the knowledge and you know, give it to people clean and pure, inshallah Rabbil Alameen. Next time, inshallah, we are going to talk about chapter 4, the etiquette of companionship, meaning you with each other, students with each other. طبعا it is very important إن شاء الله رب العالمين. جزاكم الله خيرا for listening. صلى الله وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. إن شاء الله if you have questions please go forward. وجزاكم الله يبارك فيكم. Wallah, if you can do Tahiyat al-Masjid on the side and then come to the class, that's okay, inshallah. It's all right, yani. It's better to do Tahiyat al-Masjid than come to the class. But if you sit in the class, don't move, yani. If you sit in the class, don't move out for the class. And those are some etiquettes coming, inshallah. The etiquettes of sitting in the halqa and all that, we will talk about it, inshallah. If no other questions, we can stop here, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Thank you. Yes?
We're talking about the bid'ah. What about the birthday? The birthday of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, people celebrate the ceremonies and they say that they don't do anything and they will eat forever, or something.
No.
And the second, the birthdays of the people who individually for themselves, like their relatives.
Sahih. The celebrating the birthday of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Or Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the hadith, he used to fast on Monday. So they said, Ya Rasulullah, why you fast on Monday? قال ذاك يوم ولدت فيه. This is the day that I was born in. So he commemorates the day that he was born, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, by fasting Monday. But he does that every week, not every year, yani, annually. Okay. Now, celebrating the birth of the Prophet ﷺ, if it is done as a ibadah, then it becomes a bid'ah. Yani, they are showing the love to Rasulullah ﷺ in a way that Rasulullah did not show himself, or his companions who loved him more than anyone else did not show, or the tabi'een. And the first 3 best centuries that Rasulullah said, خير القرون قرني ثم الذين يلونهم ثم الذين يلونهم, the people, my generation and the generation after, let's say the first 200 years or 300 years, this was not there. Then it was innovated later, and then it deviated too much, that people start dancing and singing, and men and women and slaughtering and doing things, and so it went to a realm that it is a religious practice, right? To show the love of Rasulullah. That's bid'ah, of course. But if somebody wants to celebrate the birth of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam by remembering him sallallahu alaihi wasallam, studying his seerah, by giving sadaqah, by doing something that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam advised us to do, not celebrating it like in public and not celebrating it in a group, but that. All of this is if actually the birth date of Rasulullah is known for sure. That's not known for sure. We know that he was born on a Monday, but is it Monday the 11th or the 12th of Rabi' al-Thani, or this? There is lots of opinions about that. It's not like a fixed date, but we know it is in Rabi'. But which day in Rabi'? The 8th, the 7th, the 11th, the 12th, there are different opinions, right? So if let's say if we know not the way it is celebrated, it shouldn't be celebrated the way it is celebrated. But the point of celebrating it to show the love of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is not haram to do that. To show your love to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the day he was born, that is a ni'mah from Allah Azza wa Jal, came to the ummah and all of that. These words I'm saying is the khulasa of lots of talk, right? It's fair, it's in the middle. So the way it is done is the way that has lots of question marks and lots of problems with it. But do I as an individual happy on the day that Rasulullah born, assuming that I know the date, that he is born, that I thank Allah for it, and I pray to Allah Azza wa Jal to guide me, and then I read the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and I read the Quran, and I do the Salah and all that, that's fine. But having it in a certain way, in a certain time, to be done like this, that's the issue, which bid'ah should be avoided. Because everyone will start celebrating in their way, and they'll keep innovating things. You have to dress like this, and this person have to do like that, and they're singing, and then they women mixing, and lots of problems. You're aware of what I'm saying. Now we come to celebrating one's own birthday. That's not a religious thing. It's not a religious celebration now. It is someone happy the day that they were born, or their child were born. Until here it's okay. But again, the practice of having a cake and the candle and all of that, this is not an Islamic practice, right? But does having a cake at that time is haram or no? Having a cake and eating it is not haram. Celebrating the time that you were born or your child was born is not haram. But doing it in a certain way, it can lead to that, right? So it is better to avoid that, because it's not an Islamic tradition. And we as Muslims are warned from adopting other things that will affect us, become attached to it. But if it is done just, like whatever, there's no problem. But if it makes it a habit, and we have to meet in that day, and we have to give a gift, and they have to blow the candle, and they have to make a wish, now you're going toward the issue. Especially blowing the candle and having a wish, there's a big issue with that one. Aqidah issue, right? Like now, if you tell a child to celebrate your birthday but no candles, no birthday for them then. Birthday but no gifts. See, those are the rituals that will create an issue for you. All right? So, but many scholars, and the majority actually of the scholars said it's not haram to celebrate one's birthday, but is how you do it or what you do it is the issue. Yes? Salam. What is that?
I had a question about the
madhahib. صحيح. Yeah, good. But how would you decide which one is better? Well, that's why.
I don't want to belong like people from the country and having it, but if I decide to do my own homework, so which one is the most right?
No, for that is the big issue. Yani. Your homework will not lead you to make the decision, because once you make the decision means you are above Malik wa Shafi'i wa Abu Hanifa wa Ahmad to decide which one of them was better. That means you have to be higher than them to do that. So the issue is Malik wa Shafi'i wa Ahmad wa Abu Hanifa, all of them are taking from the same thing, but their understanding differed. So they are not taking from different sources, or they are not creating different religion. They are all the same. But you as a lay person, you don't have a madhab. If there is an imam, a sheikh, who gives you fatwa according to Maliki, follow it. If I'm a sheikh giving you according to Hanbali, you ask me, follow it. You can be using a madhab in one issue and using the other. But when you are from a country that adopts a madhab, right? That's why you end up following that one madhab, because everybody is the same. But when you are in America here, it comes from everywhere, diverse. So it becomes a big problem for you. But following the madhab is not wrong. It's not an issue. Actually, we advise people to follow madhab because it's safer for them that you follow one school. But all of them are good. And we talked about that in the fiqh class on Thursday. Even the scholars, if I give fatwa according to Ahmed, but I know there is another madhab better for you, even I don't follow it myself, but I tell you, go ask that sheikh. He will give you the fatwa. Because he's Shafi'i and he can give you better. Now, Shafi'i, Hanbali, Hanafi, or Maliki, it does not mean different from the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Whoever does that, whoever think that, you are actually accusing the four imams with kufr, while you don't know. Because you are saying that Sunnah is one thing and Shafi'i is another. You understand me? And this is a big mistake many people do. Even some people of knowledge, they actually, said that, which is not right. That of our time, yani. They said, so take the Sunnah of Muhammad, don't take the Shafi'i, Maliki, Hanafi, or whatever. So what does that mean? Yani Imam Abu Hanifa was seeing the Sunnah, but he make his own opinion. You are accusing him with kufr like this. Imam Shafi'i was seeing the hadith of Rasulullah, and a person came to Shafi'i one time and asked him, and he gave him a fatwa. He said, but there is a hadith of Rasulullah said such and such. I'm different from what you say. So Imam Shafi'i got very mad. Told him, do you see me like hanging a cross on do you see me coming out from a church or a synagogue? I'm not. أرأيتني أعلق الصليب وعلى وسط الزنار أو خرجت من الكنيس بل على العين والرأس حديث رسول الله بل على العين والرأس بل على العين والرأس. It is on my eye and my head, the hadith of Rasulullah. But you understood it wrong. This is not the way to understand it, right? So Imam Shafi'i said, we understand the hadith based on this. Abu Hanifa said this and this. And all of them respect, because this did not come in a precise way. They never differ in something came precise. Okay? The difference, my sister, is in things that Allah left it open intentionally. وَلَوْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ لَجَعَلَ النَّاسَ أُمَّةً وَاحِدَةً وَلَا يَزَالُونَ مُخْتَلِفِينَ. Right? That's why Sheikh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah, he said, إِجْمَاعُهُمْ حُجَّةٌ قَاطِعَةٌ وَاخْتِلَافُهُمْ رَحْمَةٌ وَاسِعَةٌ. يعني the ijma', when they agree of consensus, it becomes a hujjah, you cannot go away from it. But when they differ in the things that does not have a precise one way, it is a rahmah for people to follow various things. So actually, having four madhab is a good thing. That's why we tell people, like I tell people, if you are from Pakistan, ask your Hanafi shaykh. Why? Because there's availability in that, they speak your language, is your culture, that's how. If you are from Morocco or Algeria, this follow the Maliki madhab. If you are from that, follow the Hanbali madhab. If you are from that, follow the Shafi'i madhab. Why? Because it's easier for you, you have access to that. Right? You have access to that. The Shafi'i would not say something that there is a clear ayah, clear hadith, one understanding, he will never put his opinion on the other side. Because you're accusing them with kufr if you do that. I'm just telling you, if someone knows that this means one way, but they said no, it means that, this is out. But anyway, the scholars differed in the branches. They never differed in the fundamentals. Memorize this one. They never differed in usul. They always differ in furu'. In furu'. يعني الصلاة, everybody agree on the salah. They might differ on the entrance of time, exit of time, like Malik, like Abu Hanifa or Malik. Abu Hanifa time, Asr time enters at the end of the time of Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. So that's a difference. But that's fara'. But both of them agree that you have to pray Asr. Both of them agree that you have to put your right hand on the left hand. But where is different? That's fara' and not a big deal, yani. But if you tell people to follow one way, it's going to become a big problem, because someone will come and say, but there is hadith, say such and such, and the ulama understood it different. So why you do this? Imam Malik ibn Anas, one of the Khalifa Abu Ja'far al-Mansur, came and told him, give me permission. The Khalifa, who rules all the state of Islam, from Medina and Persia and all of that, all the way to Spain, and big. So I told him, give me permission that I tell people to follow your book al-Muwatta. Muwatta is where Imam Malik put his fiqh, his madhab, and he used hadith to prove his madhab, right? Tell me, I issue a decree that no Muslim follows in the affairs of ibadah and mu'amalat and this except what you find in Muwatta. Imam Malik said no. He told him why. He said the Sahaba of Rasulullah went everywhere, right? The deen of Allah Azza wa Jal is with them, but not with one. Is with them. And people learn from them. Someone heard something from here, he did not hear from the other one. So people start giving fatwa and follow it, and the rahmah of Allah is vast. So leave people do that. If you make them strict here, someone can come later. He did not say that, but another Khalifa comes later, find another scholar, and he says, you know what? Decree to invalidate this decree. You understand? So no Muwatta, now follow Abu Hanifa. No Abu Hanifa, follow Shafi'i. A generation will come who does not follow Islam at all. But leave it open, then people are safe. You see, Sheikh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah, after he was jailed by some scholars who disagreed with them, from the four madhahib, they disagree with them. For three madhahib, Shafi'i, Maliki, and Hanafi, they were against Sheikh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah. He was Hanbali, but even he differed from that. But they put him in jail. Then, when the Sultan agreed with him and liked his opinions and freed him, he said, I'll put all of them in jail. He said, no. He said, those are the ulama of the Muslimin. Even he disagrees with them, but in books, in academic debates. But these are the muftis of the ummah. If you put all of them in jail, I'm not the one who's going to teach everybody. There is some good out of each one, even with mixed with bad, Some good, in general, people ask them about their salah, about their ibadah, about their selling and buying, and they benefit them. They differ with me in some issues of aqeedah and all that. I'm not going to kill them because of it. So difference sometimes is good. It's actually most of the time is good, especially when the issues of strict, not of strict nature, idda of the woman whose husband dies is 4 months and 10 days. Khalas, that's 4 imams agree on that. Mawarith, 90% of it, all the imams agree on it. There is no madhahib in the mawarith, inheritance law. Why? Because it's very clear. Al-hudud, one madhab. Nobody said stoning and somebody said no. Or somebody said 100 lashes and another one says 90. ما فيش حد كده it is straight. So always the issue of the differences, you will find it in the branches of worship, like I gave you example, or mu'amalat, the dealings, the interpretation. Nobody says riba is halal. Nobody of the ulama says riba is halal. But they differed. Is the land of non-Muslim considered a land of peace or land of war? Right? So if it's land of war, is the Muslim allowed to deal with prohibited things for the necessity or not? Nobody says riba is halal, but I'm just telling you how they base their things. Some people say, Abu Hanifa says, you can deal with riba in whatever. He didn't say that. He did not say that, but it's a long process. The fiqh issue, it's a long process to follow and not follow and all that. But generally, not chill. The ikhtilaf is in furu', branches, and not necessarily ikhtilaf is bad. And the ikhtilaf does not come in the issues that to be understood one way. So if you are a Maliki, alhamdulillah, follow that. As a student, you're doing your homework, that means you become a student. You learn a book of fiqh from beginning to end with a qualified Maliki Sheikh. That's how you become a Maliki. Alright? Ibn al-Qayyim said, a person says, I'm Maliki, I'm Shafi'i, because he is just in an environment that practices that madhab, does not make them Maliki or Shafi'i or Hanafi or Hanbali? What does that make you one? When you study the fiqh academically on a sheikh who qualified in that madhab from the beginning of the book to the end of the book. A small book يعني. From the beginning of Tahara and all of that until the hudud and the penal code and all of these things. All the fiqh, you read it with the sheikh and he explained the key points. Now you know the answer for every mas'ala in fiqh. You're familiar with it. That makes you a follower of that madhab. Other than that, you are a general lay person. Find someone knowledgeable, ask them regardless of their madhab. مذهب العامي مذهب إمامه. Alright? جزاكم الله خيرا. صلى الله على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم.